Okay, we have another magnificent one today. Magnificent. Yesterday, we learned to replace all things that we are judging with a miracle instead. And today, we're learning that miracles mirror God's eternal love. Miracles mirror God's eternal love. To offer them is to remember Him, and through His memory to save the world. It's no small task. Through remembering God, we save the world. That must mean to take responsibility for our mind, for releasing whatever block shows up in our mind. How beautiful that we can do that.
What we forgive becomes a part of us as we perceive ourselves. The Son of God incorporates all things within Himself as you created Him. Your memory depends on His forgiveness. What He is unaffected by His thoughts. But what He looks upon is their direct result. Therefore, my Father, I would turn to you. Only your memory will set me free. And only my forgiveness teaches me to let your memory return to me and give it to the world in thankfulness.
And as we gather miracles from Him, we will indeed be grateful. For as we remember Him, His Son will be restored to us in the reality of love. As we remember Him, His Son will be restored to us in the reality of love. The Son is the oneness, it's the Christ. The experience of oneness will be returned to us in the reality of love. As we gather miracles from Him, we will be grateful, and this is the result. This is important. We don't want to be sad or mad. So to practice this, to allow God's eternal love in our hearts, we'll have all those miracles. And it talks so much about forgiveness. So we should pay attention. Forgiveness is the way. Beautiful. We will go into meditation. Offering our doubts. If there are some doubts in our mind, we will offer them. Spirit. This is an inward time. First, we need to release our control. Our own knowledge, the I know mind, our opinions, our judgments. Put them all on the altar. Then they don't protect us. They are a hindrance. Put them on the altar. I'm going to say, I open my heart I open my mind to rest. Rest in you, God. Because I want the miracles that mirror God's eternal love. I want to know those miracles. To offer them is to remember Him, and through His memory to save the world. We can relax into a most glorious state of mind. We'll have to let it come to us. By resting in His peace, just by releasing judgments and opinions. There is still some chatter in the mind. Make another attempt to just relax and release the thoughts. Just come back. This deeper, open place. What we forgive becomes a part of us as we perceive ourselves. What we forgive becomes a part of us as we perceive ourselves. The Son of God incorporates all things within Himself as you created Him. The Son of God incorporates all things within Himself. The memory of God depends on his forgiveness. The memory of God is a result of your forgiveness. The forgiveness of all things. And when you forgive all things are you. I've seen myself in an avocado. I've seen myself in a chair, in trees, in people. This recognition. And I even, in my mind, it sounds like, oh, that's Jenny, literally. And it is so sweet. We feel this oneness with everything when we forgive. Because when we don't forgive, we have projected, we have put something outside that we don't like. And then dissociated from it. We think it's external to us. We think it's not us, it's them. And that's what unforgiveness does. But when we own it, when we own our perceptions, that is actually how we forgive. And we take responsibility for what we perceive and not make others wrong. And then we heal and we become happy. And this is it, it's obvious what we need to forgive. It's whatever we don't like. It's very obvious. So that's why it makes it so easy to work with this, and all it requires is willingness. If we don't do it, it's because we're not willing. Once we understand these metaphysics. Now I need to forgive my foot because it really fell asleep.
Just wake up, foot.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything today that you'd like to bring up in this space? Bring up for healing? Something you struggle with in your mind that you would like some help with? Laurie?
Hi
there.
I feel like I need help. I just wanted to say, I feel like the only place I would ever hear that sentence, I saw myself in an avocado. There's something about that that lightened the, yeah.
Yeah, it was very mystical.
Yeah, I feel like a broken record, but I've just upset myself this morning because Joe wouldn't get up for school. And it's been great all week. I feel like just I talk. Yeah, like I've had all these conversations with the school, and they're committed to this, and I'm committed to this, and Joe has to be committed to this, and put things in place, and it's worked for 4 days. And then, so in the end, in the morning, I was just like, "Get up, Joe." And with that, he did get up, but then we're both storming up the hill to school. He's refusing to speak to me. And I think I just wanted to ask a question. It's funny because I just couldn't meditate either. And I can see, like, I'm choosing Laurie. I'm choosing the idea of Laurie and all of those nonsense thoughts rather than praying and asking, like, show me who I really am.
Well, yeah, but do you see it as a problem? So he got to school?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel guilty for anything from this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah.
But it feels good. It feels like you did the right thing. It feels like you supported him to get to school. Sure, he was a bit angry at you, but kids get angry at their parents sometimes. You know, it's like Jesus says, when you take the scissors, when a little child runs with scissors and you take them away, they cry. Because they think it's a toy, but you know it's dangerous for them. So you, in this action, you did what's best for Joe. You know it's best for Joe to not separate himself from his assignment to be in school. So we can assure you that you did great. And I think you can lift that guilt.
Yeah, probably seeing now the thoughts like, this is impossible. I'm going to be condemned to a life of nagging. I should, it's the should. I should have been able to communicate better this morning so it didn't turn to anger. All those kind of. I don't know, it just feels hard to undo all of the mistakes. But yeah, I don't want to live in the guilt. I want to.
Yeah, mistakes are just to be seen and forgiven, you know. And there can be fear of raising your voice, fear of being direct, because the ego will say that's not loving, you know. But that's the most loving thing, if that's what the situation calls for, you know. It's super loving to help the one that has lost himself, you know.
Yeah. Okay. I think my question was around today's lesson, because I have had those experiences where you want the forgiveness, and it's something like when it says, you know, it's not forgiven until there's gratitude there. And I've had those experiences where, but then other times I feel like I'm just talking to myself, like, oh, this is not who he is, and this is not who I am, and it's not really the miracle. It's
judgment.
Yeah. But that's because of the guilt.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can sense from the energy of it, you know, the feeling of it, where it comes from. The ego will also try to say what is right and spiritual and loving, and it's off. It just complains.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for bringing it up. Raphael? Osa, have a good trip. Love you. Enjoy that long flight.
Thank you. And I won't say happy Christmas, but I will say have a happy day.
Okay. Thank you. We will. And you too.
It's on my calendar. Hi, Raphael.
Hi, Raphael.
Hi. So I had like a fear in my heart about sharing this. Yeah, I was pretty like upset this morning. I had a lot of, I think, pride and anger coming up too, because I sent a message to Jason yesterday, and he didn't message me. He didn't answer, and so I had a lot of like, yeah, just like pride or this morning. Yeah, because you know, like I've started having like this feeling like
Just speak it. It's okay.
Yeah, the thing is that I'm always kind of like, I don't know if that's like the right way to do it, but I'm always kind of like asking, what should I say, what shouldn't I? And sometimes, you know, just feels like I want to like speak, then I feel like not to say. So
You're judging what you want to say. That's why you hesitate so much.
yeah, no, I think it's, I think I'm using like what I say as a way to kind of like, you know, tune into like what's guided to say. It's like just like discernment, you know, like
The ego, you want to. The ego wants to protect itself always. The ego is pride, so maybe that's what is there. There's pride there. And the ego just wants to protect itself all the time. So it's terrified of exposing private thoughts, terrified of exposing anything. Just wants to, you know, look good, but it doesn't feel good.
yeah, I could see that like in lately, like it feels like I'm going through like a phase where I can start to see like just what you describe, you know, like it feels like, because I feel like I want to pour my heart out, but also I know there is like a lot of fear around exposing. And so, yeah, I could, even in the call with Matthew yesterday, I could see like it was very like
Yeah, you can try us. You can pour your heart out and we can talk about things, you know, you see the ego's works in you wanting, you thinking you want to come to community, but then being tempted to give away all your funds to a person in Bhutan, you know.
maybe it's for me to look at something, but it was, you know, like the prompts, like what I saw, several prompts, you know, to do it, and again and again, you know, like so like my relationship with money and things like that. But
It's a deep journey, you know, even to know what guidance is. It's signs, you know, to ask about everything. What does it really mean? And to wash arrogance and pride and self-concept. It's a huge undertaking to say it. That's why it's so few people study the course, and even fewer. I mean, it's really few that are committing to community and the full undoing of the ego. The undoing of the ego, it's not pretty, it's not nice, it doesn't feel smooth most of the time because of the pride that comes up. But it's brave to do it, and everyone who comes to community, to do it in community, it's a very helpful step, because the ego gets even more kind of knocked, gets triggered a lot, and you get it in your face, you see it a lot more. So it quickens the undoing.
But don't you think that, like, because what I shared about, like, the way I share, like, just like questioning, like, a lot, just what comes out, I feel it's been helpful, like, lately, like, doing that.
Are you doing it right now? You stop yourself. You don't say, say it feels like, and then you're quiet, sometimes for a minute. So I don't think you need to be like that. If you have private thoughts to expose them. And it is a lot of silence needed. It's a lot of introspection. So this is probably what you're doing, but you don't need to do that on video. The introspection is very helpful. Taking walks and talking to Jesus, or journaling, just to clear the mind, see what is in consciousness. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Raphael.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay. We'll move into our day. Go into it with the intention of mind training, of being humble. Jesus says at one point in the manual for teachers, you haven't yet come as far as you believe. He just says that to everybody who reads it.
No.
It's good to remember, because that is another arrogance in the mind, of thinking we've come pretty far and we know something, but you haven't yet come as far as you believe. It's helpful. It helps you look deeper at the ego to release judgments. Judgments and the opinions and the I know mind, those three things are the big ones to work with at all times. It's so freeing. Yeah, Laurie.
Yeah, I just feel like that's what happened to me yesterday with spending the day at community. Like, just noticing how I'm not at home, like I'll just let the mind wander in. Yeah, and something about being in community, it feels like a constant reminder to just,
In purpose.
yeah.
I've
got my function today, so I'm looking forward to that.
Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah, so helpful. Okay, well, that's what we'll do. We'll go into function. Love you. Love you, Solveig, Peter, Lulu. It was nice to see the three of you last night. Okay, bye-bye.